early. Sometimes it's good to be early. But our show starts at a specific time. You should remember that. Let's get started then, shall we?
Dillon, I don't give a what you think about the co-host and freshen up my show.
It might not be flashy, but sometimes you just gotta toss another person to make a statement.
My show's about the people's podcast. Everyone has a voice. I don't need a co-host. Go listen to one of the other 5,000 shows with a co-host because they don't have a mouth like the big guy.
Opie, are you a career killer with Tim Sabian, yourself, and many others?
Be myself. Never had real issues with those people. They just understood that I was a different bird. The rest of them, though, I'm like, oh, shut up. I'm paying your salary because the ratings are so good, so shut up.
Right.
Live from
somewhere,
it's
Dillon.
Good whatever to you, whenever you're watching this episode of Cohost Auditions. I am your co-host, Dillon. This is my self-taped, unsolicited audition tape to be a co-host of someone who is much popular than me. Well, how popular is today's YouTuber? 1.74 thousand subscribers. So they don't have that income like some of these hosts I've had, but it is a puppet. And he is reviewing used cars. I really enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed my review. YouTube did not. They took it down right after I did that stream. So this is take 2 of the used cars review led by Barkey the dog. First puppet that we've had in here. So let's see how Barkey does with his movie reviews. Well, that's not Barkey. That is a sexy Wendy's girl. She will be coming up at the end of the show. So look forward to that. That's becoming more and more regular, me forgetting to put on the proper clip here at the beginning. Thanks for joining. This is a really busy week for me. I had to postpone my members-only stream of the public domain theater on Monday. Tomorrow with Annie O'Ryan. What's this game? I don't believe I'll be in for the whole time, but early starting time of 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, and I will join hopefully for about an hour, but I do have an out that I have to get to tomorrow morning. But on to today's show and the puppet.
Hey friends, your old pal Barkey Dog back with another movie review. This time it's a comedy from the greatest era, the 1980s. This
kind of like Rolf. Rolf also named after the sound a dog makes, not the angry video game nerd.
one sports a really good cast and an interesting premise. That's right, we're talking about used cars.
And I've never seen that poster for it. The big finale scene out in the desert. Nimrob isn't sure about puppets on YouTube. Puppets on Rumble, Nimrob is very acquainted with that, but hopefully they can make a foothold here on YouTube as well.
1980. Now, one of my viewers, David, he sent me a flock of stuff off of my wish list, including this here Blu-ray. Thanks,
Does it have a commentary? If that has a commentary, I might need to pick up that Blu-ray.
I really appreciate it. It's amazing, but I don't think I've ever seen this one, so it was a real treat. One of the things he sent me, I'm saving for Halloween. You know which one, David.
Halloween. Nice little wordplay there, doggy.
I'm saving that one. Now this here Blu-ray's great. It's got a lot of extras and stuff. So how about it? Is used cars a lemon or what? Let's get into it. Our story goes like this. There are
And it is a failure on Robert Zemeckis' Robert Zemeckis' resume, rather, his screen resume, one of his first directed movies. He did much better on Forrest Gump and even his episode of Tales from the Crypt. This one didn't make money, but it made money in my heart.
Two car dealerships right across the street from one another. Each is owned by one of the Fuchs brothers, two old men who have feuded for years. One, the bad brother, is more successful
And this seems more like a family-friendly channel, so he probably won't point out that Royal Fuchs is really just wordplay for Royal Fucks.
and the good brother has a lot full of run-down lemons. The bad brother wants to get rid of the good brother and take over. Now, a new
Oh, the good son. So that's what would have happened to him if Macaulay Culkin would have lived till the end. He would have become a used car salesman.
interstate is coming in,
Yay, Joe Flaherty.
and it will go right through the bad brother's lot.
Barkey has definitely learned his lesson on how to get around the YouTube takedown system. He is not showing clips. He is showing stills from the movie. So that's something I might have to take note of. And if I bring a movie review show back to YouTube, no clips, just pictures.
Giving him more impetus
The dog is teaching me.
to crush his rival and get that space instead because it'll be really lucrative. Our hero is a fast-talking car salesman who works for the good
Oh, son of a bitch. I forgot to dress up for this one. I've got my tacky tweed jacket, just like our buddy in used cars here, Kurt Russell.
brother, but his methods are anything but good. He's been desperate to make sales because he wants to become a politician and clean up by getting dirty. Unfortunately, the good brother has a bad heart, and the bad brother connives to give him a heart attack.
Fantastic still you have there of $50 won't kill anybody.
Brother has a bad
Possibly the best scene to show someone out of context is that $50 never killed anybody. Get him interested in the movie through that.
heart, and the bad brother connives to give him a heart attack. Kurt and his friends now have to hide the fact that the good brother is dead until Kurt can get enough money for his campaign. This leads to a lot of fun as the guys cook up crazy advertising schemes and sales pitches and do all they can to thwart the bad brother. Meanwhile, the good brother's daughter
Franklin Sherman himself there with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
is coming back after 15 years to make amends with her dad, and it turns out she's a sexy chick. Well, naturally, Kurt goes gaga for her. Will the bad brother win the day? Will Kurt find
He keeps saying good brother, and that takes me to an obscure wrestling reference of the Good Brothers.
true love and give up his crooked ways? And what of President Carter? In our cast, we have Kurt Russell as our hero. We last saw him not too long ago.
Yeah, you've called him Kurt Russell over and over again. His name is Rudy Russo, you silly doggy.
In my review of 1975's Search for the Gods. Used cars was an important role for him. He was finally shaking off the kid image he got after making so many movies for Disney.
And he had just recently lost out on the part of Han Solo to good old Harrison Ford.
And here, not only does he get to play an unscrupulous car salesman, but we see him doing these legit stunts as well. All of the shots from the side or a distance, that was a stuntman, but these face-on shots with Kurt jumping on moving cars, that was really him, man. You won't see anyone outside of Tom Cruise doing that kind of thing.
I actually didn't take that into consideration of the fact that we did have a just stampede of cars that Kurt Russell, it was much more contained, the scenes in which they shot him, but still a stampede of cars, which he's jumping from hood to hood with our buddy Windy Joe Sperber there.
These days, Jack Warden kills it playing not one, but two characters, the Fuchs brothers. Gotta be seen to be believed. An incredible job by this actor.
You're right, A. Smith. This movie did lack birds and butterflies. We'll see if that reflects at the end of the review, if he gives this movie 4 paws or just 1.
We have Joe Flaherty from SCTV. We last saw him in my review of the Cannonball Run series. He's here as a corrupt district attorney in cahoots with the bad brother. Former NFL player Frank McRae is the mechanic for the good guys. He's fun in this movie, quite a character. Garrett Graham plays another car dealer for the good guys. I loved him in this. He's had a long career and appears in a lot of TV shows, cartoons.
That guy person, if you've ever seen one, he is exactly what I wanted out of an acting career, of being that guy, where you can't exactly recognize that you've seen me in movies, but you know me from somewhere. I'll be long gone by the time you're like, oh, you're a movie star. That's the type of fame Garrett Graham has. Very enviable, that type of fame, where he keeps getting roles, but he doesn't get mobbed at the grocery store. We'll see if this... Be careful, Luigi Greenberg, if this dog drops a ropey load. Those are known to be sticky. I've never seen any other animal get stuck at the end of the ropey load.
Cartoons and movies like The Critic, that was great, Child's Play 2, and The Creature Wasn't Nice. He was also in Cannonball, one of the movies I covered in that video. Since this film was directed by Robert Zemeckis, we have several familiar faces.
Was that the car race movie with Raul Julia? Is Cannonball and Cannonball Run two different things? Raul Julia was in one of those car chase movies from around that time. It was a good one. I believe Dom DeLuise was there. No, now I'm conflating them again.
Movies he made later on. For example, we have Marty McFly's sister from Back to the Future, Wendy Jo Sperber, who plays a student driver. Mark McClure, Marty McFly's brother, and also Jimmy Olsen in Superman and Superman 2. He's here. Love interest Deborah Harmon plays the daughter of the good car dealer. She briefly pops up in Back to the Future as the news anchor reporting on the plutonium theft. Grandpa Munster, Al...
Somehow I missed that. I've been missing a few as a movie nerd. Larry Hankin in the Tales from the Crypt episode I reviewed with Spurgsnake. I'm just missing some favorites all over the place lately.
Lewis plays a hanging judge, a fun role he makes the most of. And we have the comedy duo of Michael Mc...
A hanging judge, not a hung judge. That is a different movie.
Kean and David L. Lander, Lenny and Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley. Terrence Knox, he's here, and he's arguably most famous for his role as Sergeant Anderson on the TV series Tour of Duty. Boy, that was a...
I have never heard of Tour of Duty. That's even further down the rabbit hole for me than F Troop. Initially, I thought F Troop was actually just a parody of Hogan's Heroes when the guys from the show showed up on Married with Children. I thought they were just making that whole thing up. But now I know F Troop is an actual thing with Storch, Robin Storch, one of those names Kelly Bundy went to the acting class of. Tour of Duty, even further down the list than F Troop for me.
Great show. If you look fast, you'll spot Tiny Wells, another familiar face. He usually played heavy bikers, truck drivers, rednecks, and whatnot. He was also in an episode from one of my favorites back in the day, Otherworld. Remember that?
Nope. Here is even more reasons I should collaborate with this doggo. He has some fun little obscure series and movies that I'm unfamiliar with.
Perennial character actor Dick Miller is also in this, and Cheryl Rickson, a Penthouse Pet of the Month.
And they used her Penthouse Pet of the Month titties for a good cause.
She appears
to show titties in their movie.
In more ways than one. And we even have Dub Taylor. What a cast, am I right? Used Cars was originally an idea by John Milius, who had tapped Steven Spielberg to direct, but they were too busy with other things. So
but Steven Spielberg did produce one of his first Amblin Entertainment producing credits. So this helped get Amblin Entertainment off to an awful start. Oh, and Nimrod pointing out that F Troop is greater than Hogan's Heroes. That is news to me. I need to check out some F Troop then.
Bob Gale and his writing partner took it on with Milius and Spielberg producing.
If you check out Bob Gale's credits, once Back to the Future hit, I don't know if he ever did anything again. He was creatively successful throughout the 80s, then got his big moneymaker and just sat back.
To get the script to seem realistic, Gale went to real car dealers and got the lowdown on all of the dirty tricks they'd do to sell clunkers to the unsuspecting customers. They also got stories of real-life interactions they could use in the movie. For the big car run in the last act, the filmmakers advertised for college students to bring along their cars, and they could be in a movie. Most cars college kids owned were already junkers, so
As much as they beat the shit out of those cars in that finale, I would not... Well, that specific scene where they were
Movie.
jumping over the hill,
Most-
I got to imagine that those are the studio cars, or the ones that they rented. Or they just fooled those college kids. Nah, just take that jump. It'll be fine. It won't fuck up your suspension at all.
cars college kids
But that is how they do it now. There used to be a time where they would rent cars, but now they just hire background actors and give them a little bump in pay to bring their car along. It's cheaper.
owned were already junkers, so that worked out. The filmmakers also cooked up several innovative ways to market the movie, which is shown in the extras on the Blu-ray. The film got raves at an advanced preview, prompting studio executives at Columbia to push up the release date. Unfortunately, that was a big mistake. Why? Because it put used cars up against another comedy movie, a behemoth called Airplane.
That's the same story of Weird Al's UHF. The studio got such great reviews from the advanced screenings that they were like, let's put this out now. Let's put it out first. I believe it was summer of 1989, where there just so many hits that UHF had to compete with that it ended up bombing.
The success of that movie swamped used cars at the theater, and it never got its due on the big screen. However, later on, cable TV came to the rescue, and used cars got a whole new life on the small screen, cementing its place as a true comedy classic. One thing in this movie is when the good guys hijack the president's speech in order to advertise their dealership. They do this by
That's too fucking high.
wrecking
Boom.
cars across the street.
Oh, so he's not going to get to both the shenanigans. The first time they had go-go dancers with pasties stripping on the cars.
At the Bad Brothers lot by blasting them with a shotgun because the prices are too high. Now, many moons ago, I happened to be in Texas, and I saw this ad on TV for Stakely Chevrolet. Pretty sure it was Stakely. I've never forgot it. Now I see where they got the idea from. This salesman was dressed up the same way as Garrett Graham here. Would look at a
Did Crazy Stakely shoot some cars through the windshield? That'd be great. Yes, indeed, Juggalette Jen. The talking Krusty doll, just like from the episode, indeed has a good and evil switch on it as well. And we'll have some clown ladies coming up at the end.
car and say, "The price is too high. Bring it down, Slim." Whereupon they would cut to a close-up of the car's window and blasted it with a shotgun. Obviously using a stunt car for that, not the real one. But it was hilarious. And you see that done in this film because that's where the idea came from.
I used to have, I think it was a local carpet guy in Maryland that would have Mr. Bill from Saturday Night Live.
It's a real hoot. Kurt Russell is so good in this. Jack Warden is amazing in his dual role as the Fuchs brothers, two completely different people. A masterclass in crafting characters.
And how they got him to come in for the movie. Jack Warden turned it down, and they were like, hey, you want to play two characters? Yes, I do. I'm in, said Jack Warden.
The movie is a fun, laugh-out-loud romp with a great cast and some great stunts sprinkled in for good measure. Used Cars is easily worth 3.5. Paws up. Definitely worth checking out.
Oh, I even called what his stars were going to be. pause. 3.5. I was asking if you were going to give it 4. 3.5 is absolutely acceptable for this diamond in the rough of a movie.
Out. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.
So this was a no-nonsense review. He gets in, out, and goes on his way. I would like to see some clips of the movie, but I know for a fact that YouTube is not always a fan of those clips from the movie. Even when you test it ahead of time to make sure, oh, these are okay? Thank you, YouTube. They may come back and say, no, these aren't okay after all. We're taking the video down. So that was the used cars review from Barkey, and he also really enjoys the movie. Didn't get too in depth of it like I do with my reviews. So they're pretty much, I guess my reviews are more for people who are fans, or to be like, hey, I'm introducing you to this thing. Gonna give some spoilers here. No spoilers at all on this one. Juggalette Jen, YouTube took down my used cars stream because of the clips I used. I tested them beforehand, and YouTube said they're all right. And then after the episode aired, well, during the episode, they took it down midstream and then wouldn't let me put it up. So, yeah. And now, oh, look at him. He's got a cute little doggy sweater on. My roommate's doggy has a little cute bow tie as well, as he's going to review Home Alone knockoffs. So this looks like the style that he's going to go through, and not going to give us too much detail, so we can check out these knockoffs for ourselves. There was batteries not included. I vaguely kind of remember that one. No. That wasn't a Home Alone at all. That was about the robot things.
Remembers the tale of how a little kid, Kevin McAllister, saved his family home from a pair of bumbling burglars in 1990's Home Alone. It's become a perennial holiday classic and was added to the National Film Registry.
And once one movie becomes a hit, every other studio wants their own, as we talked about with our Dirty Work review, which also I tested. YouTube said it's okay, and then after the episode aired, they said it's not okay. Dirty Work came out right before Something About Mary, and the studio was like, we can't have R-rated comedies. Those are dead. So they would have been very happy and on the forefront if they would have waited a little bit for their R-rated comedy, instead forcing them to turn it into a PG-13. And now it's been ever since what? Iron Man really kicked off the superhero movie. Like, we are in superhero movie purgatory, where every third movie made has a superhero on it. So let's see if we remember some of these 90s movies that were trying to be Home Alone. Hell, Home Alone 3 was trying to be Home Alone. You didn't have Kevin McAllister back. Well, they did have Kevin McAllister back, but not Macaulay Culkin. He was getting a bit too old at that point. Just should have done what they did on The Critic and that parody of Home Alone 5. We left Kevin at home, and he's only 23.
Other day, and for good reason. But not long after, Hollywood started milking this cow for all it's worth. There was Home Alone 2 in 1992, and then Home Alone 3 in 1997, which has even less to do with the original. This was followed by Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House in 2000.
I feel like I saw an in-depth review of that one. I think that they had like no money for this one, and as you see now, Marv is a lady, and Harry is French Stewart. The rest of the McAllister family is just fucking gone. They were able to afford dad, son, and 2 criminals. That's all they had for Home Alone 4, to my understanding.
2002, Home Alone the Holiday Heist in 2012, and Home Sweet Home Alone in 2021. There's a reason you've probably not heard of most of those. They were lousy. But even beyond these missteps, the industry has been making knockoff versions of this story ever since 1990. They all feature bumbling burglars trying to rob a stupidly huge mansion at Christmas and being thwarted by a kid or pets or whatever. So, based on that premise, the ref doesn't really count here. Hey, friends! Barkey Dog here, back with another Christmas movie review. And in this...
For you to poop on? Oh, no, that's probably copyrighted. Maybe you'll be able to piss on it. But Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, I think he's the only one who is legally allowed to poop on it. Very much like Michael Buffer and the Let's Get Ready to Rumble. I can say it like that without being sued, right, Michael Buffer? I was just referring to your trademark. I wasn't using it for my own financial gain.
This one, we're going to take a look at some knockoff Home Alones. This is by no means a complete list, sadly, but there are many of these. And
Sam Bibley informing us of a unofficial spin-off called We Need to Talk About Kevin. That's off my radar. We'll see if Barkey gets on that one, but he's probably going to stick more to the kids and their traps type of. We'll see. He might get to it. Mark Bass, a little off topic. I believe we're talking about Kevin Brennan. Can we talk about how Kevin had awful parents? Neil Brennan definitely talked about that. Kevin Brennan, that's just the way they were. So what my little brother Neil's first memory is of me and my dad physically fighting each other. It's who we were.
Are these ones any good? Well, let's take a gander at some of them, shall we? First up, we have Christmas Thieves from 2021. And this one...
Oh, they are way behind on the trend. 2021, you were supposed to get this shit out in the 90s when the iron was hot.
Tom Arnold and his partner, Michael Madsen, are burglars robbing a magician's.
Oh, Michael Madsen, how you have fallen. He, I imagine, is still getting pretty fucking high. Wasn't it Michael Madsen that had a porno site? Or no, he looks just like another guy as well. It was either Madsen or the guy that I can't think of name who Madsen looks just like.
Home, and they steal a supposedly magical book. The alarm goes off, so they flit over to a neighboring house, which just happens to be where a lady cop and her kids are living. While the lady cop is called out to investigate the robbery, the two robbers pretend to be the babysitters she called, and they spend the evening pretending to watch the kids while looking for a chance to escape the neighborhood. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I never even finished this one. It was that bad.
Did you get to the traps? Because the finale had to be the traps that they set for the criminals.
See, this book they stole acts as a clunky storytelling device, where the robbers read the stories to the kids, trying to get them to go to bed so they can escape. The stories are clips from another thing altogether, a bad...
Another failed project that they just mashed up into like a Home Alone-esque type wraparound.
Animated,
very cheaply made movie. Oh, Michael Madsen, you are still doing the porno, aren't you? You needed that paycheck quite bad.
CGI kids cartoon show called Arctic Friends. So you can think of the movie as being a crap delivery device. Not funny, not clever, not interesting. It looks and feels really cheap. And splicing in the cartoon segments does not help this one at all, because Tom Arnold is...
An anthology horror movie just doesn't have an appeal like an anthology, or an anthology Christmas, I should say. I mixed up what I was about to say. Anthology horror, thumbs up. Anthology Christmas tales,
basically narrating all the action. It would have been much better without all that, and it begs the question why they did it in the first place. I suppose some of the cast are trying, but not nearly hard enough. The real crime here...
Well, Michael Madsen was trying quite hard. I guess he ran out of those blue pills, so he wasn't hard. He couldn't try hard in this one.
Is that this thing was even made. And not only that, it has a sequel called The Good Witch of Christmas.
And they got the least of all the Baldwin brothers, good old Billy Baldwin, in there. And he didn't even kill a guy, but he's still considered the bottom of the barrel of Baldwins.
From 2022, no relation to the Good Witch series from Hallmark, and no, I have no plans to watch it. This is best avoided, like being knocked.
Well, this isn't a review at all, is it? You're just discovering garbage, said, hey, I found this garbage, I'm a piss on it, I marked it, and I'm a move on.
When you know Santa is watching you. And he is. Next up is Alone for Christmas from 2013. How much?
Okay, this one I did stumble upon. This is a dog instead of Kevin McAllister. We can see why it appeals to Barkey here. And it is a Christian movie. Kevin Sorbo has gone a bit crazy with the religion, so this appealed to him very much. A Christmas movie all about Christianity. And nothing makes sense. It's a giant piece of shit.
Of a knockoff, is it? Well, the original title was going to be Bone Alone. This one has a talking dog.
And then the lawyers got involved. That reminds me of another dog movie, Russell Madness, about a dog who goes and becomes a wrestler. Was supposed to be Russell Mania. The dog's name is Russell. And then the lawyers, no. We can sue the shit out of you for Russell Mania. So Russell Madness, the Macho Man's saying instead.
Oh, ridiculous, isn't it? Who would believe something like that? What? Actually, it has two talking dogs. One little dog that gets the older dog into trouble. The dogs talk via CGI mouth movements, but humans don't hear them talking or see their mouths moving like.
Bone Alone does sound like the type of porno movie that I wouldn't watch. That sounds like a solo jerk-off stream, what you might see over there on the strip chat and the chatterbait. There's plenty with women doing the Alone stream, but Bone Alone, gonna pass on that chatterbait stream.
Like human mouths. Anyway, thanks to the little dog wrecking the tree, the older dog gets the blame and can't travel with the family to Grandma's for Christmas. He's got to go to a dog sitter's. He runs off and goes home, but that works out because these three morons are planning to rob the house when the family is away. The dog here manages to make traps and things as a gauntlet for the robbers to get through, just like Kevin did in Home Alone. This one is fair. It's really made for a little.
I guess since he actually finished the movie, he's calling it fair. This is a giant piece of shit. I don't know. Yes, I did finish it. Kevin Sorbo came in as a dog catcher. It might have even been an exterminator. Whatever it was, Kevin Sorbo wasn't there for long. The most expensive actor they had for like a day, maybe two.
Kids, they'll like it okay. There are no name brand actors I could see. Speaking of talking dogs, how about The Dog Who Saved Christmas from 2009? Here, the dog only talks in voiceover, not moving his mouth. Anyway, our hero here used to be a canine police dog, but lost the ability to bark and wound up on the streets, poor fella. He gets adopted by the Bannister family, who are in need of a watchdog, but because he can't bark, he's kind of useless.
Don't make the head of the Bannister household angry. You would not like him when he's angry, doggy.
As a watchdog. So you guessed it. Well,
Bruce Bannister. That's the name I was looking for. Some people call him David Bannister.
The family goes off to Grandma's for Christmas. The dog is left behind and has to thwart the two.
Is that Big Pussy? Man, did he have to accept whatever the fuck after he got killed off? He was one of the most popular characters in the first two seasons as well. Actually, no. Is that off-brand Big Pussy? Or is that actually him? I can't quite tell.
Bumbling burglars who try to break in and rob the place. The dog, again, makes traps and such to slow down the robbers.
Yeah, that's Pussy.
Now this one...
Poor Pussy.
...is a little better. It's still kind of meh, though, but better than the other two, and it has a name brand cast. First, we have Gary.
It's the buddy from King of Queens. They've got people we actually know about, but weren't the actual star and were on the downhill slide from their fame. That's how you get someone people recognize. That actually used to be quite a strategy with movies. John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, he was gotten for cheap as fuck because his career trajectory, and thanks to Pulp Fiction, and Look Who's Talking, gotta give credit where credit's due, his star kept rising.
Valentine from the King of Queens sitcom as the Bannister patriarch. Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell and Pacific Blue voices.
Oh, we don't even get Mario Lopez and his muscles on screen, and I will always remember him for cheating on his honeymoon.
The dog. Dean Cain from Lois and Clark, that's right, Superman, plays one of the robbers, and he and his partner, played by Joey Diaz, are kind of funny. Mindy Sterling is...
Oh, that was Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz does look a lot like Big Pussy. So, my mistakes to my apologies to Joey Diaz and Big Pussy for saying that all fat Italians look alike, but they do.
Here, she played the Frau in the Austin Powers movies. She's the goofy grandma in this. And Adrienne Barbeau from Maude.
Ooh, Adrienne Barbeau and her fantastic knockers. Also seen in Creepshow, where she played Wilma, the lady who you just could not wait to see get it.
And the first Swamp Thing movie is here as the old biddy across the street. She has a cat. Yeah. Kane and Barbeau are...
It's so funny. We've got a bunch of comedy fans, well, a dozen comedy fans here in the chat, and not a single one of us was able to pick out that was Joey Diaz, not Big Pussy, and a great reason why they got him to play his dad in The Many Saints of Newark. Oh boy, that script, if it was going to be a movie, needed some more editing. It was they tried to pack too much shit in there, and less said about The Many Saints of Newark, the better. It's just there.
Are actually trying to do some proper acting here. Diaz is fine too. Sterling is playing a character part, and the balance of the cast is kind of sitcom-y. The movie is all right, but again, aimed at kids. Probably because it was fairly cheap to make. The Dog Who Saved Christmas led to a series of sequels. The Dog Who Saved Christmas Vacation, The Dog Who Saved Halloween, The Dog Who Saved the Holidays, The Dog Who Saved Easter, and The
Dog Who Ate Peanut Butter.
Dog Who Saved Summer, all between 2010 and 2015.
They're all The Dog Who Saved. It appears to be starting with The Dog Who Saved Christmas. So The Dog Who Ate Peanut Butter, that's a different series of movies.
The Dog Who Saved Summer.
The Dog Who Saved My Boner, starring Rob Saul.
All between 2010 and 2015. And that leads us to the last one on this list. Christmas Break-In from 2019.
Oh, I thought this was a sequel to Electric Boogaloo. We got Breakin', Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, and Christmas Break-In. But my mistake. Wait, there's a Glover in there. Danny Glover, Denise Richards. Okay, Danny Glover's been known to appear for a reasonable fee. That's one of the reasons they got him in the original Saw movie. Most of Saw was just two guys in a room. We need a name. Danny Glover, get in here. People remember you from your great performance in Pure Luck with Martin Short.
Here
Martin Short is too expensive.
Have a little girl, Izzy, who wants nothing more for Christmas than an electric guitar. So her workaholic parents have promised to take her to the guitar store. I guess.
When I see modern Denise Richards, I get a shock because in my mind, she is just always her 1996 age when she was just so damn hot.
The local Guitars R Us, they're having a big Christmas Eve sale and they're going to buy her a guitar for Christmas. But then a big snowstorm moves in. And school is canceled and the kids sent home, all except Izzy, who is waiting for her parents to show up. But of course,
School alone? She's not home alone. She's at school alone. Oh, the dog was played by Sandra Bernhardt. She really got into that role. Thank you, Nimrob. I did not pick up on that.
they forgot. Now, there's this friendly janitor who has been teaching Izzy to play the guitar between classes. He's the last grown-up to leave, and he leaves her at the school, promising to check back if necessary. Now, this dopey kid forgot her cell phone, so she has no way to call for help, and the snow is coming down in buckets. Fortunately, the janitor allowed her to wait inside the school building. Meanwhile, you've got these three idiots.
What, are you trying to get fired? That's going against insurance, Danny Glover, letting a kid in the school after hours.
Robbers who stole all the coins collected by the Salvation Army Santas in town. They make their escape in an ice cream truck, because of course they do. So the girl is trapped in the school. The parents,
When you're both a robber and a diddler, ice cream truck.
janitor and her older brother are all separately racing to the school through the blizzard to rescue her. And the robbers break in to wait for the storm to pass. The little girl does the Kevin McAllister thing to try and thwart the crooks when they grab the janitor and tie him up. This one does have some name brands on board, the biggest of which is Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. No, Pure Luck. That's what Danny Glover is from, and Gone Fishing with Joe Pesci. Oh, Lethal Weapon with Joe Pesci and Gone Fishing with Joe Pesci.
Who plays the friendly school janitor. We also have the former supermodel and one-time Bond girl Denise Richards as
This dog is indeed putting on, I don't even know if it's a radio voice. It sounds more like a radio commercial voice. Instead of a radio DJ voice, he's going to be selling us some doggy treats and some items to help keep our house safe during the holidays, after this example of all the things that could go wrong.
the mom. The dad is Sean O'Brien. He's been around in a lot of supporting roles. And the guitar crazy little girl, Izzy, is played by Cameron.
Was it Lethal Weapon 2 that had that really fun Home Alone type of trap where Danny Glover was stuck on the toilet, and if he got up, it was going to explode? I think that was Lethal Weapon 2. Kevin McAllister needed to try that, a grenade in the toilet.
Cameron Seeley. She voiced Cindy Lou Who in the 2018 animated Grinch movie, which I reviewed and you can find elsewhere on the channel. The cast is uniformly good, although naturally Danny Glover outclasses them all. The crooks are funny,
As does Ernie Hudson in the new Quantum Leap. What a giant bag of fucking shit the new Quantum Leap is. But Ernie Hudson, he takes this awful dialogue and actually makes it sound acceptable. Everyone else, well, it's shit all around. Ernie Hudson is the only shining spot of the new Quantum Leap, and his character is actually quite annoying. It's the boss, the director of operations there at the Quantum Leap Laboratory, and the writers made him Mr. Dad I Wish I Had.
and Seeley avoids being annoying, which many child actors can be. And there are some funny outtakes at the end. This is the best and most watchable of the pictures we've talked about here, but it's still a sad, pale.
I did like the late 90s and the just random silly comedies that Joe Pesci would be in, like Gone Fishing and Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag, which, of course, once again, gangsta Joe Pesci, that was a good many of his roles.
Shadow of the original Home Alone from 1990, as all of these knockoffs and sequels seem to be. Hey, you be good, like you know you should, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, these reviews are going quicker than I was expecting. So good thing that I prepared a few of these. The next one, he is talking about Howard the Duck. There is actually quite the story behind Howard the Duck. The biggest thing that stood out to me is they got two actors to play Howard the Duck. They got a stuntman little person, but they also got a kid. And you can clearly tell when Howard the Duck is played by a little kid because he has these little kid motions. You just can't hide it. So it's just very odd that they didn't give the part just to the stuntman little person.
How?
Because, yeah, it's just he's unsure of himself. You can see his unconfidence in his moves when Howard the Duck is played by the kid. I forgot that Leah Thompson fucked the duck. I remembered she was the love interest. It makes sense, Sta Chungsta. I do remember the duck tits at the very beginning. When Howard the Duck is sucked from the duck universe, we get some duck titties of a duck lady bathing in the bathtub. I would make a great co-host for this dog. Thank you, David Collins. I do need to get more on top of that, of actually following through with being a co-host for these people. We got something going on, doggy. David Collins thinks so, and I think we could get a few more people saying that we would have... Well, he's got these edited videos. I could do that. Look at me trying to talk myself out of a job.
I
would like to talk myself out of my regular-ass job. Just dropped down to 4 days a week from 5 because I was like, so hey guys, I'm gonna run away from here if I keep coming in at 5 days a week. I'm gonna work here 4 days a week at this shitty job and roll the dice on the YouTube monetization for that other day, which I do need to get better with my behind the paywall stuff. Do have the upcoming public domain theater this Monday, and slow adult speed dating coming up in a few weeks.
A duck. What the hell did I just watch? Hey, friends. This time we're looking at one of the most notorious flops of the 1980s. Howard the Duck from 1986. Probably the last franchise Lucasfilm had.
The problem, actually, Mark Bass, isn't that Hollywood is out of ideas. It's that the people with the money are only willing to greenlight ideas that are similar to stuff that's still out there. There are some weird creative folks that are trying to get things made, but the people with the money, oh no, we can't make that. It's not a superhero movie. That costs too much. That's too much of a risk. But we will spend $300 million on this thing that we hope will make $1 billion, because with the advertising, that's how much we need to make in order to be profitable at all. The Hollywood system.
Kathleen Kennedy and her minions have not willfully destroyed. I vaguely remember seeing this on VHS years ago, but I didn't recall much about the movie. One of my viewers, Michael...
Oh, that's actually a great point, Sam Bibley. A Howard the Duck movie coming out years later probably would have been a success, at least on some level, because of all the perv furries out there that would have loved the animatronics, which... also, by the way, the animatronic duck head was also malfunctioning throughout shooting.
You sent me this here Blu-ray off of my wish list. Thanks, man. That was really kind of you. I think.
Actually, Sam Bibley, I did have an idea of how to spin this show off into a actual half-hour television show where the co-host is just deranged and he has like a television screen on top of a mannequin body that he does the show with, of archival footage that he has. So that is the pitch I've had rolling around in my head for a couple of weeks of how to turn this web show into a TV show where I am just full-on deranged of keeping the TV show going, despite, I guess the host is dead or something, using archival footage. It's on the, it's being worked on. Not as much as my buddy comedy heist movie. That one, I do believe the circumstances could be right to pay for that low to mid-budget comedy movie, the buddy comedy heist movie. I've been working on that one. It's been a while since I've been working on the Steel Toe movie, the Lifetime movie for the Steel Toe Morning Show. Four's a crowd, as we were calling it. Because really, that was just for funsies. That was to get me back in the habit of doing some writing stuff.
Man, this movie. Our story goes like this. Howard is a duck, as you may have gathered from the
Oh,
title.
Sam Bibley, have you not seen any of the TikTok around the clock slow adult speed dating? We've had the speed dating segment recently, but it really attracts slow adults. And I've got a 17 straight minutes. I haven't watched it in months, so it's going to be new to me when I do plug that in and do a members only stream of that slow adult speed dating from TikTok.
He lives on a duck planet that's pretty much just like Earth, only with ducks instead of humans. He comes home after a hard day's work and is suddenly transported to Earth in some kind of a space wormhole. He crash lands in Cleveland and finds himself bouncing around from one danger to another in a repetitive slapstick sequence of mayhem.
That looks like the kid. Just from that still, that body language does not look like the stunt actor. Well, it's at night, so it would have to be the stunt actor. I may just be trying to find stuff where there isn't stuff. And they got bikes, there's stunts. This actually would not make sense at all if that is the kid. I think I'm just trying to sound smart, and I'm only seeing a still from it. Which Barkey, very intelligent with his movie reviews, trying to keep his channel, no clips, only pics.
Not seen since the opening of Superman 3. Punks, bikers, gang dudes, you name it. Then he meets Beverly Switzer, lead singer of a local band, and he saves her from some dudes trying to get handsy. Fortunately,
that was just way too much of a go-to in the 80s. Still in the 90s, when they were trying to make Jason Alexander the bad guy in Pretty Woman, he is just going to give her some surprise sex. That actually, Deanna Troi, Marina Sirtes, was an actress in a few canon movies, and she had just had terrible, awful experiences as they're like, we need to get some boobs in this movie. Marina, you're going to get surprise sex from this group of guys. So that was just way too often in the wheelhouse of 1980s writers.
fortunately, Howard knows a martial art called Quack Fu.
Oh, and I pulled up this, but I should acknowledge it really attracts slow adults, is the greatest pitch that he has ever heard. I'll remember that if I'm ever in a meeting. I've got some shows, they really attract slow adults.
So he's
Whereas TikTok's speed dating, you see some regular people on that. Well, I guess I'm being insulting to slow adults by saying they're not regular. But you need to eat all your fiber, slow adults, if you want to be regular like everyone else.
able to help out. Since he's a hero now and has no place to go, Beverly invites him back to her place to stay. Then she tries to put him in touch with scientist types so they can figure out how to help get Howard back to his planet. One scientist dude is using a telescope that caused the accident in the first place, and he thinks he can reverse the polarity of the neutron flow or whatever.
Diddler alert! Diddler alert! It's Jeffrey Jones! We've got a diddler!
And send Howard home. But inadvertently, they target the wrong part of space, and they bring an evil space monster to town instead. This here monster merges with the scientist and wants to bring...
So that's what happened to Jeffrey Jones. He got merged with a monster, and then he started being a diddler.
Bring his friends to Earth so they can all take over. Can Howard and Beverly save Earth? Can Howard find a way back home? And what the hell is this? Howard the...
Yep, there was the duck sex scene. I guess it's been a long-ass time that I've actually watched that movie. The only thing that stuck in my mind was the beginning of the duck tits, not the duck on human-woman sex. And that's... I guess they didn't make the duck's penis anatomically correct, that weird fucking corkscrew, because Leah Thompson, she would have a hard time with that.
Duck was based on a Marvel Comics character, one that raised the ire of the Walt Disney Corporation. They thought Howard looked too much like Donald Duck, being risque, rude, crude, and lewd, and chomping on cigars. Disney didn't like the idea Howard might be confused for Donald. So they forced Marvel to make changes to the comic, most notably that Howard had to wear pants. Donald just lets it all hang out, apparently. Ironically, after gobbling up Marvel and Lucasfilm, Disney now owns Howard the Duck. Anyway, this movie...
There's like 8 things that Disney doesn't own. Marge Simpson is well, I guess Lisa Simpson is a Disney princess now. I'm actually, I don't know, Sam Bibley, if Howard the Duck is funny to watch or if it's an actual bad. If it's a fun bad or a bad. It has been forever since I actually watched this movie. I remember the finale with Diddler Jeffrey Jones turning into a monster, and I think he was like on some sort of golf cart type thing that was supposed to look menacing, and it didn't at all. And duck tits. Woo!
It was a huge flop, both critically and commercially, and with fans. It did gross enough at the box office to cover its cost, but only barely, and that doesn't count expenses like the advertising budget and the cut taken by theaters. So it lost money. A lot of money. Maybe on the order of $15 or $20 million, which was big money back then. One problem was that the movie did not really follow the story in the comics, except in a vague sort of way, so fans were disappointed.
Fans were disappointed, but not David Collins' father. We have found someone who is a fan of this movie. So, according to the elder Mr. Collins, this movie is not bad. It's either fun bad or just plain old fun.
See? Lucasfilm has been ruining stuff and pissing away millions even before the sequel trilogy and the Dial of Dysentery. In our cast, we
That is, I remember the reaction of me as well, Sam Bibley, of through the middle half just being highly confused about Howard the Duck. As I was with the Phantom Menace. When I walked out of the Phantom Menace, I was like, did I like that movie? What the fuck was that?
We have Leah Thompson, fresh off the mega hit Back to the Future. She's good here. After Howard the Duck, she agreed to a role in Some Kind of Wonderful, a part she had previously turned down. She grabbed it, though, because she knew she desperately needed to be in a hit movie again. We also have
Howard the Duck, that was early 80s. So just hold on, Leah. You got Back to the Future. It's a coming up. Howard the Duck made a few cameos in Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I didn't notice his, but I did notice Lloyd Kaufman's cameo in the prison in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Completely took me out of the movie. Lloyd Kaufman just being anywhere. I can't pay attention to what's still happening. It takes me back to trauma.
Have Jeffrey Jones as the friendly scientist, and he's a real bright spot, and seemed to enjoy chewing the scenery as the possessed baddie. We also have a young...
He also really enjoyed chewing on Howard when they had the little kid playing him.
Young Tim Robbins in an early and somewhat annoying role as Beverly's friend and wannabe scientist. Ed Gale played Howard the Duck, at least the body of Howard. He's famous for playing Chucky in the Chucky horror movies. He's brilliant here, his body language and movement really breathing life into this costume. So, how about it?
Coincidentally, he had a hard time breathing in the costume.
Is this thing any good? Well, it's hit and miss. There are some good special effects, and they're mostly practical effects, which are always nice to see. As for action, there's a sequence using an ultralight as an escape vehicle. The stunts with the ultralight are pretty impressive and done for reals, no miniatures or CGI. Thomas Dolby did the soundtrack, and Leah Thompson sings her character's songs for real. The costume and Gale's performance help sell the duck, and all of that is good. But there are...
If there is a little person inside that puppet, I would have hoped that they had more animatronics on the face of this dog puppet. I think it is the standard hand up the ass.
Are problems with Howard the Duck that are hard to get around. First, Howard is realized with a human actor in a costume, but with an animatronic mask. All of the facial movements were operated separately by several artists using remote control. That is, wireless remote control, so no cables coming off the costume. Honestly, this was fairly cutting edge, but like we saw with Baby, a movie I've reviewed elsewhere on the channel, the facial expressions on the duck mask had to convey human emotion. But in both cases, the animatronics were just not quite there yet. The facial movements sort
You needed to wait till 1989. Just look at that Crypt Keeper.
of work here, but are still too stiff to really sell the character, just like Baby. The animatronics are impressive for their day, but just not quite up to snuff. And then there's the big question. Who is this movie for? Is it for kids?
Nope.
Looks like it could be.
Speaking as a kid who watched it, and some of my beloved chatters who were just very confused by it. Nope, not for kids at all.
Physical humor and action, and it's got a duck from outer space.
And tits! Very first thing. Then again, PG movies did have boobies in them at that time, both Airplane and Airplane 2, before the PG-13 hit. And now, even a PG-13 movie, you can't get away with a rack. Well, except in Titanic. We did get some boobies in Titanic. That was probably the last PG-13 movie to get some knockers in it.
But then you have decidedly adult humor, not really suitable for a kid's movie. I mean, you've got topless lady ducks in this thing, with tatas and everything. That's right, you see duck tatas. They show them to you.
3/4 of the way through his review before we got to the duck tits. I always mention that first when talking of the Howard the Duck movie.
So it's a bizarre mashup. It looks all the world like a family or general audience movie, but then duck tatas. And Leah Thompson here, in the movie's most infamous scene, tries to get Howard to rise to the occasion, shall we say? But she's just deep.
Only if you have a vagina that corkscrews all around can you make this work. Trust me, we've talked of duck dicks a few times over here.
Poor Howard. Leah Thompson looking all scrumptious in those skimpy undies, acting all hot to trot. But she doesn't really want a hot duck. So they could have gone.
I see what you did there. You stayed on you there to be like, see? I'm saying a dirty joke without saying a dirty joke. Nice going there, Barkey, of her not into the hot duck.
And all hot to trot, but she doesn't really want a hot duck. So they could have gone one way, or they could have gone the other. All in on the adult humor, or all in on a kids or family or teen movie. But they tried to do all of that at the same time, so it's a bit of a mess. It's also missing something I can't quite put my paw on. Some undefinable quality that makes a movie resonate. Was it a bland voice for the duck? The scattershot scripting? I don't know. You can see why it wasn't a hit, despite all the good things going for it. Maybe it's a lack of gravitas, or...
Tone is something that, is kind of unquantifiable. You either have the proper tone or you don't. And it depends on the filmmaker, and they did have some good people on this movie. I was about to compare it to the Disney show sitcoms and the Netflix kids show sitcoms that are just fucking awful. The tone on those, even for a sitcom, is just an absolute miss for me. I do believe you're correct, Sam Bibley. The Howard the Duck poster, I think, is a parody of the Alien poster.
It needed a steadier hand on the tiller or something. Hard to quantify. George Lucas produced this, and
Ooh, casual sex with Leah Thompson? Yes, please. Thank you, Sam Bass.
despite the infamy, he felt audiences would one day look back and appreciate Howard the Duck, even though the picture was a flop. He felt in the long run, people would eventually warm up to it. Was he right? Well, I did strangely enjoy this one, mostly from that warm, cozy haze brought on by nostalgia for old-school Lucasfilm and 1980s movies. There is quality here. You could tell they wanted to make a good picture, and they were trying. Unlike Lucasfilm in the past 8 years or so. The practical effects are really good, except perhaps for the monster at the end. The matte process really...
I do like this dog host more than what's the Arlo? Arlo, the video game reviewer. Nothing against Arlo, just Barkey, I think, is doing a better job than Arlo, the video game reviewer. Victoria Jackson, I didn't really see her in anything besides Saturday Night Live and UHF. She got married, and good for her. I haven't seen her do, like, maybe one or two other things. I think I did see her pop up somewhere where she'd gained some weight, which is to be expected. If you don't have to be all Hollywood thin, it feels nice to be fat. A little fat. Being too fat, it's uncomfortable.
It didn't work here. It's about on a par with the Rancor from Return of the Jedi, only it goes on a lot longer. Thompson, Jones, and Ed Gale are all doing their best, and the Thomas Dolby soundtrack is certainly very...
Ed Gale? Oh, that's right, Bob Gale. I was going to say, don't you mean Bob Gale? He was from earlier in Used Cars. I don't believe Bob Gale had a damn thing to do with this movie.
80s and serviceable. So all in all, I guess I'd have to give Howard the Duck 2.5 paws. If you've never seen it and want to see some old school film...
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Spurg Snake. Arlo is definitely for the kids, whereas Barkey is for all audiences, and Triumph is for adults. That is our scale of puppets for kids, everyone, and adults.
Filmmaking from the 1980s, you could do a lot worse. It's a guilty pleasure for sure. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.
That was 3 movie reviews from our new buddy Barkey. He agreed that Used Cars is a fantastic flick.
My name is Sophie, and
Sophie, you're talking too soon. I don't know why this has started to do that. I may have to do this second segment a little bit differently. So, on to the second segment of the show, Puppet Lady. We have seen her once before, so we're going to check out what's going on with...
Hi, my name is
Sophie Truax. Is that an actual name? Or am I pronouncing it right as Truax? But thank you, Barkey. You have a decent voice for this, and put together a few decent movie reviews for us. In and out. Not lingering on it, just letting us know, hey, you should check this out. In his radio voice. I wonder if that's what the man behind Barkey used to do. I wonder if he was a radio commercial kind of guy. Sophie Truax here, she was not a radio guy. She's getting into, or a radio girl even. She is just getting into puppetry, and we see her skills right here.
Ventriloquism journey. I make puppets and I make music, but I'm not a ventriloquist. However, I'm trying. So today, I'm going to sing you a little song.
So like many of us, a fan of puppets, but not trained in puppets. She's more skilled in making the puppets. So here she goes, attempting to sing a song. Let's see if you are better or worse than our buddy Phil from Phil's Fun TikTok with his puppetry. Because he's not great, but he's gotten better.
I used to waste all my wishes on silly little people, silly little things, every little eyelash sticking to my cheek. I used to waste all my wishes on...
Okay, Okay, so that's one of the problems right there. You can't play an acoustic guitar and move the puppet's mouth at the same time.
Silly little hopes and silly little dreams. Now I'm using every wish I got to get you clean.
She does look a little bit insane. Does have the crazy eyes that I do like in a woman that aren't too insane. But as she did that with those eyes and trying not to move her lips, can I come pick you up and we can spend a weekend in the crazy house?
Let me know.
So you can either play the acoustic guitar or operate your puppet. I guess, go for operating the guitar. It would be a little awkward for the other set of arms to come around you. Kind of like a Whose Line Is It Anyway game with the arms coming through and someone operating them. So, yeah, the second person to operate the puppet's mouth as you operate the guitar. One more from our buddy Sophie Truax. When he gives you a reason to turn the puppet you've made of him into a voodoo doll. Oh, and I have lost audio connection, so that has been happening more lately. You are being more and more of a pain. So we will get rid of that and then bring it right back. Oh, good. Mark Bass, she can borrow his arm. Nothing. Fantastic position to be in. A puppet pedal. Yeah, that's also what she could do to make that work. Is a puppet pedal while she operates the guitar. So now let's share this again. More technical difficulties popping up all the time. And I moved to a new browser for this not to happen, but it's still happening. So take it away, Sophie.
Do you know you have 30 minutes? Are you kidding me? 30, yes.
Showing us her pin that she is going to be sticking into her former friend, the puppet, who was made to look like her ex-boyfriend. The last time we saw her, she had a Robitussin song because her ex-boyfriend was a big fan of Robo-trippin'. So, being that she makes great choices like that, maybe she would be in for this weird guy right here. Now, on to our clown lady of the day, Scuba Steph. I don't know how I haven't featured Scuba Steph up to this point. She has been doing clown shit, silly clown stuff for a while here on TikTok and YouTube. So here is Scuba Steph dressing up as Art the Clown.
The closest people in my life, my best friend of 8 years, told me that when I wear my Art the Clown cosplay, that I look like a Raiders fan. That one hurts. That one, I'm not gonna lie.
I agree with her. When I thought I was going to move to Las Vegas and they were getting a football team, I was like, all right, what are they going to change the Raiders name to? And they did not change the Raiders name at all. I could have been a fan of the Las Vegas something, but not the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, it looks like we did lose our juggalos. We had Juggalo Jen. She's missing out on some of the clown ladies that we are introducing to. A. Smith. It appears that not Juggalo Jen, she was one of our beloved chatters, that Scuba Steph lives in a big old house in the Hollywood Hills that she splits the rent with like 6 other people that are also making YouTube videos. Going down this rabbit hole, that I just got a pervy thought in my mind of another hole that I would like to go down with this clown lady. But But going down the rabbit hole of Scuba Steph, it's a nice house in the Hollywood Hills, and there are multiple people that have done that strategy of getting together 12 people to live in a nice place in Los Angeles. You need to get together 3 people just to live in a shitty place in Los Angeles.
Wendy said that if we go to Ren Fair, I better dress like a jester. So here's my Rhonda Jester Ren Fair mashup. I look stupid.
This is a whole bunch of the content that you will see over on Scuba Steph's channel. Rhonda the Clown. She and her other creator friends dress up like fast food people, and some they just make up, like the Texas Roadhouse lady just dresses up in a Woody from Toy Story outfit, and that is their Texas Roadhouse representation. And here's a view. She has a lot. This is one of many videos from her hot tub up there in maybe it's Sherman Oaks, maybe it's the Hollywood Hills, but you are in a very expensive place in Los Angeles, splitting the rent with a lot of other fast food folks. So there's her buddy in the Wendy's costume, me trying to do small talk with Wendy.
Good morning.
Chilly today.
By saying good morning doesn't mean I want you to have a conversation with me.
That's actually what I think of many people. When I give you a greeting, that is not an opening to a conversation. So me and antisocial Rhonda the Clown, Scuba Steph, here we've got. I'm not seeing a good representation of her booty as was requested in the chat. And this one has some DMCA music. But let's just check that. Oh, I've got to do this for it to come up properly in the window. So Scuba Steph and her big old boobies doing McDonald's cosplay stuff. This one, I guess it's a Harley Quinn, Veggie Girl Witch, Panda Beetlejuice. Oh, and there's the lady who plays the Cinnabon girl. So I imagine all these people probably do live in this house to make rent. We have Scuba Steph as Harley Quinn here. Cowgirl. Oh, Cowgirl. That is our Texas Roadhouse lady. A Veggie Girl. Oh, Panda. So one representing Panda Express. The curviest one is Rhonda herself. She has got those big old knockers. She looks like a nice Jewish lady out of her makeup. So that's another thing that really gets my motor running. BK, Wendy, and oh yes, there's our Colonel Sanders. So they do have 2 men living in this house of boner fast foodery. Oh, and a Jack in the Box. Okay, there's more people living in this house than I realized, but I would put good money on every one of these people living in that house to make rent for that mansion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 with Rhonda. I don't know how many of those 11 are indeed living in that mansion, but it does take about 11 people making a decent living in order to afford that nice house in the Hollywood Hills with a hot tub. So that was Scuba Steph. We had Sophie Truax and Barkey the dog, not to be confused with Rolf the dog. Both taking sounds that a dog makes and turning it into their name. That makes sense. So that was today's episode. Wendy's Chili. That was a good plan by the Wendy's folk because it was yesterday's burgers. They're only serving like the fresh. Wasn't Wendy's the non-frozen? Whatever it is, burgers that are about to expire. They go into the chili. So that was it for today. We talked about used cars one more time. Barkey didn't get too in depth with it. I was all ready to get very in-depth with used cars once again, hoping that YouTube wouldn't take it down this time, but getting some nice hints from Barkey as well of, hey, if you want to do this review show, gonna have to go with some stills, even audio. Having audio in general is getting more of a pain getting it through YouTube. I'll be back tomorrow. 2 shows with Annie O'Ryan at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We will be talking about Outer Worlds, and my mornings are kind of a clusterfuck, so I'll be there for about 30 minutes, an hour, maybe the whole thing. Most likely I'm going to have to wander out, but I will be back in time for the St. Cloud Moron Show with Spurg Snake, where we discuss this week in Serenity Now. Serenity Now, Aaron, isn't the most entertaining Aaron, other than the fact that we know he's putting it on. This Serenity Now, Aaron, is full of shit, and Insanity Now, Aaron, is coming up soon. Insanity Later, Aaron, is coming up soon. I'm looking forward to it. I'm waiting on confirmation from Dirty Dalish if she'll be able to make it on Thursday, so possibly more Tales from the Crypt talk with a newbie, possibly a TikTok around the clock. I've got that one ready to go on, it's actually Halloween on Thursday, so hopefully she can make it and we can talk some scary TV show episodes. I am doing live streams Tuesday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and I still did not update that crawl. I stopped thinking of that the immediate moment I'm off of this. But we are monetized now. Super chats, super thanks, memberships. It's becoming now a bad theme of the channel that when I say there is going to be a bonus stream, just wait 7 days. Just wait a week. It happened with our gameplay stream of Outer Worlds. It's happening again this week because fucking chaos happening. I needed to attend to something. I almost postponed this episode. I was like, only through this week, but I was able to get my shit together and get this one out here Tuesday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern for more shenanigans. And I'll have more money making stuff after the new year. The taxes frighten me. So just a simple addition to my tax with this YouTube thing, getting t-shirts and Patreon and all that stuff, business license, blah, blah. It's coming in the new year. So I will see you back here tomorrow. What's This Game early, and then the regular time for the St. Cloud Moron Show. And I do appreciate all you dropping in. And a thanks just in time. I was about to drop off, and your $5 would have been for naught, sir. A $4.99 super sticker from Nimrob with a muscle, a boss lady. Thank you, Nimrob, for that super sticker. I enjoyed talking Maniac Cop with you, and hopefully come back and check out another movie. I was able to see the Skinamax Theater over there on Rumble, movies with 2K. I had to walk out right after the boobies came on stream, so I got to see some titties over there on the Skinamax Theater, movies with 2K, and really fun stuff. Gonna have to get me a Rumble so I can do some of those streamy stuffs that YouTube won't let us do around here. But that is enough happy talk for now. I'm gonna get on out of here and see you tomorrow morning on 2 different channels. What's This Game, and this channel right here, Dillon from Somewhere. Thank you for joining. Now feel free to go away.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye for now.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day.
Places all. All join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LS, LS, MFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky Strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a Lucky Strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a Lucky Strike.